kings, queens, and everyone in between, it's your girl, Mello. I'd like you to close your eyes and picture a scene with me. You're a child in elementary school, and the new Pokemon game had just come out. After staying up all night playing it, you sit down at the playground with your friends as they excitedly tell you about the crazy encounters they've seen, or the scary rumors that have been passed down from kid to kid. At the end of the day, you then try to replicate the exact same thing that your friends talked about. Perhaps it was the elusive Mew under the truck, or the infamous Lavender Town tune that drove people to insanity. Have you ever experienced this phenomenon? Well, I haven't, but I've heard these types of stories ever since I inexplicably and suspiciously awoke on this earth. Of course, they always came from adults who were talking about their younger years, but it always fascinated me. What caused those rumors in the first place, and how did they spread so far to corrupt so many people? Well, I actually decided to take a bit of a deep dive into some of the most popular Fakemon rumors that tore apart your average elementary playground. And to add some spice to it, I decided to ask one of the most popular and advanced AI language models, ChatGPT, to use the information I found to create a Pokédex entry, backstory, and physical description for these Fakemon. If you're curious, I got this idea from MJTV's video about creating a Pokemon region using ChatGPT. I definitely recommend that video if you haven't seen it already. One more thing, I'm aware that AI is a very, say, slippery slope, so it's important to remember that, although it's fun to use sometimes, it's important to support real artists and authors as they work very hard for the content they make. But anyway, if you like this type of content, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. It may seem little, but it really helps. So, the first Fakemon we'll be going into involves one of the most infamous Pokemon rumors that have cemented themselves into people's childhood, and that Fakemon is the legendary Mewthree. Quite an on-the-nose name. As you would hopefully assume, Mewthree is an evolution of Mewtwo and Mew. And before you interrupt me to say, Mewtwo and Mew aren't actually in the same line, shh, that's what fandom told me to say. According to that fandom article, due to the lack of concrete ways of documenting this information, as it happened before the internet became widespread and accessible to the youth, there are a variety of ways that one could obtain this legendary Pokemon. Quote, this rumored Mewthree could ostensibly be obtained by having a level 100 Mew and a level 100 Mewtwo in your party. Use them to defeat the Elite Four, and then take a rest at the player's house. When the player then awoke, their Mew and Mewtwo would have somehow fused into Mewthree. It even gave a brief idea of what Mewthree looked like. Aww, how cute is that? One of the weirdest things about Mewthree specifically is that there were actually 2 official mentions of Mewthree, one of which being in the Red Clefairy manga, and one in the Pokemon anime, where after creating Mewtwo, they say that they should, quote, if I had a nickel for every time Mewthree was mentioned in official content, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? I guess that's what happened when you named the Pokemon Mewthree. But using all of the information I gathered from fandom, I gave it to ChatGPT to see what it would roll with. And first things first, it gave Mewthree a new typing. Apparently, ChatGPT thought the Pokemon type chart wasn't fucking complicated enough and decided to throw DNA type in there. For the Pokédex entry, you can kinda see where it took the description from fandom and added it to its own. Just slapped it in at the end. But you know, it's what I asked for, so I'm not really complaining. Just skimming through the rest, it restates the obtainment method, but it branches off of that and says Mewthree's creation is believed to be a natural response to the merging of Mew's infinite genetic potential and Mewtwo's psychic mastery, giving rise to a being that surpasses the sum of its legendary components. Lots of big words, but I like how it expands on the information I gave. I really like the idea of taking the main gimmicks of each one and combining them into a stronger Pokemon. Finally, for the physical description, ChatGPT talked about how perfectly Mewthree represents both Mew and Mewtwo. It said so much, in fact, that my mind zoned out halfway through reading it. Long story short, it's boring and repetitive. The description low-key seems like it's describing a separate Deoxys form rather than a frickin' Mewtwo. And sure, Deoxys is a legendary Pokemon too, but come on, it's not the icon that Mewtwo is. In both character design and lore, Mewtwo beats Deoxys in pretty much every single way possible, which is why it's so annoying that Mewthree is somehow even lamer than Deoxys. I hereby apologize to all Deoxys fans out there. I made a silly joke in poor taste, and I did mean it. I did mean it. Moving on to our next fake mod, we have the lovely story of Pikablu, a Pokegod thought to be the evolution of both Pikachu and Raichu. Now this one is a quite peculiar case, as Pikablu was actually confirmed. Well, kind of. You see, the description of Pikablu is actually very similar to the baby Pokemon Meryl, who was shown in the promotional art for Pokemon Gold and Silver, as well as during a special called Pikachu's Summer Vacation. While it seems obvious that rumors of Pikablu really came from promotional art, it has a weird Mandela effect surrounding it, as many people claim that they had the picture-perfect idea of Pikablu/Meryl before the promotional art came out. According to fandom, many claim that they initially started believing in Pikablu once a man on Cinnabar Island mentioned that he was able to evolve his Raichu. Weird, huh? Even more so, people believed that this Pokemon was actually a Pokegod, as you could only find out about it by talking to a random NPC. It seems that, once seeing all the promotional art for Pikablu interacting with normal Pokemon, its vision as a Pokegod had diminished. Then, because of the art showing Meryl, they subconsciously all collectively agreed on a physical description of the Mon, and boom pow, all the timelines are screwed up and people are claiming to have known Pikablu before actually seeing the art in the special. But I don't frickin' know. With all the contradicting statements and hearsay, I could be wrong. You did not click on the video to see me hypothesize about the Pokemon timelines, so let's just get into the meat and bones of this segment, what ChatGPT said about Pikablu. Just like with Mewthree, I gave it a basic description, as well as a method of attainment, and holy shit, does Pikablu have one? So here's the Pokedex entry it gave Pikablu, and it kind of just rewords everything I already said, which, I mean, fair enough. If I was given the answer to something, I would just repackage it too. What is really interesting though is what it says in the second half of the backstory. Pikablu's dual typing of electric and water symbolizes the harmonious fusion of its Pikachu and Raichu lineage, granting it unique abilities that set it apart from its predecessors. Despite being a legendary entity, Pikablu's existence remains shrouded in mystery and sightings are extremely rare. Some people believe that Pikablu possesses special connection to the elements, yada yada, I'm bored already. But yeah, I really like how it describes the legends and the mystique of it. Something I think ChatGPT did well was delve into the folktales and perspectives of the fellow trainers. It did well with Mewthree and Pikablu, and you'll probably see that as a common theme with the others. I did ask ChatGPT to give me a physical description, even though it looked identical to Meryl, mainly because I wanted to see what the AI would do to it using the information I gave, and yeah, it wasn't the best. Let's just say I prefer the tiny and cute design of Meryl more than this shit. I let him cook, and all he did was burn. Okay, so we took a look at some of the earliest Poke theories / rumors from Gens 1 and 2. What if we pulled a 360? Or would it be a 180? To talk about the most recent Pokemon game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And yes, I know the Indigo Disc DLC came out recently, but I haven't played it because I lost my cartridge. So we're going to be talking about the good old base game. Just like with every new generation, there have been a lot of speculation towards the new starters and their evolutions. I know for myself, I followed all of the new updates for the game, excitedly waiting for anything to be revealed. When the starters were shown in the trailer, there were plenty of talented artists and internet folk who took the official art and tried to make evolutions for the Pokemon. I'll show some examples of this on screen, but almost every single fan art of these Pokemon were absolutely impressive and incredible, and for some of them, I'd rather they become official than the ones we got. Not my baby Skeledirge though. He is perfect in every single way possible. Basically what I'm saying is that I asked ChatGPT to give me a second and third evolution of the official starters, just to see what mind-blowing ideas it had a brewing. And, yeah, you can be the judge of whether it did or not. I definitely have my own opinions. I'll talk about these a bit quicker since there are 3 of them, and like I said, I kind of have a word limit here. So it gave me 3 Pokemon per starter. I don't know why it renamed the original starters. At first Sprigatito, the AI decided that its evolution, Politigro, would be a grass fighting type, which is a very interesting combination. No other starter was a grass fighting type before Hisui and Decidueye, so you know, not a bad idea. The description is pretty average and wishy-washy until it says the Pokemon adopts a guardian role, becoming a defender of the natural world. Legends tell of Polygro standing against threats to the environment, using its unique blend of grass and fighting abilities to preserve the delicate balance of ecosystems. I really like this. I've always been fond of the guardian types, especially since they give a lot of character to an otherwise forgettable Pokemon. It gives them a bit of motivation and occupation, I guess. Plus, Arceus knows that the natural world needs a bit of protecting right about now. The final evolution, Bro, how do you say that? Verdanitian? Is basically the same thing, so I won't bother repeating myself. However, I did ask the single question I know was burning in all of our minds: does Verdantian stand on 2 feet? And I'm so sorry guys, it seems like we lost this fight as well. Even in a fictional AI parallel universe, our cute kitty refuses to be anything other than furry bait. As soon as I gave the prompt about Fuecoco, I noticed 2 things that were absolutely unforgivable. First, they made my boy into a fire fighting type for no reason, even though we already had a fighting type with Polygro. Second, they turned the cute crocodile guy into a dog? Or a cat? Something with paws and a tail? And honestly, that's a crime. I obviously pointed these issues out to ChatGPT, and thankfully it changed it without talking back to me. So, the new Pokemon is called Scorchile, and it is a fire dragon type. A bit OP for being a starter, but you know, I'm not gonna fight it anymore. As dragons do, it has a long tail and wings, and I mean, that's about it. Stereotypical dragon. We didn't even get a personality for the poor thing, other than its eyes sparkle with the intelligence and ferocity of a dragon. Come on, ChatGPT, I expected better representation than that. I'm sure it's no surprise, but I prefer the ghost crocodile to this shit. Finally, we have Quaxley left, and why is it so obsessed with the fighting type? Whatever, it's fine. Just pick a different typing. And it certainly did, as it chose Steel as its secondary choice, and I don't mind. Paldean is one of my favorite water starters, so always take inspiration from your heroes, kids. As Quaxley evolves into Hydroblade, it discovers a unique affinity for manipulating water and steel simultaneously. Legends tell of Hydroblade standing as a guardian near shipwrecks and underwater treasure, using its water and steel powers to protect and preserve these maritime relics. Alright, kind of pushing the compliment I gave about liking guardian types, but whatever. The physical description, once again, is kind of boring and forgettable. It basically finds multiple ways to say, wow, Hydroblade is really good at using both water and steel moves. And the same goes for its evolution, Torrentide as well. Although I like Hydroblade and Torrentide's typing, I think Quackquavel, the actual evolution, has a lot more personality. Also, so, what did we learn today? AI isn't exactly a great substitute for real human creations. Sometimes Fakemon don't really hold a candle to the official content. Maybe we should be happy with what we have. Nope! What I learned was that kids are dumb and will believe anything, and ChatGPT loves fighting types and hates reptiles and gay people. Anyway, if you enjoyed this content, feel free to like and subscribe or whatever. Comment down below if you've heard similar urban legends in your younger years, because it seems more common than you would think. And yeah, I'm bad at YouTube, so do whatever you want. Bye-bye, besties!